Today we're going to talk about traveling with a toddler. These are just a few tips I want to share with you. They apply to both like a plane or a car ride. So we're going to jump right in. I'm not talking packing today. I'm just talking a couple quick tips. First step is to get your toddler prepared for the journey. Now, depending on their age, you may warn them in advance or you may choose to not tell them too much in advance. We don't want to cause anxiety or the when are we leaving? When are we leaving? When are we leaving? How many more days till our trip? But we also do want to set them up with proper expectations. So if you are going to fly, some things I would tell my toddler, depending on their age, of course, is things like we are going to drive to the airport. We're going to park and then we're going to go in the building. We're going to take all of our bags. We're going to have to wait in a line. We're going to do this. We're going to do that and kind of like walk them through the process. And that gives them a little semblance of knowing what to expect and being prepared versus them just feeling lost and confused the whole time, having a ton of questions, also just like having resistance to the process or sort of like fighting it. Now, remember through all this, you know your child best, so use an approach that works best for you and for them on how they handle processing information and gathering information. Quick side note, if you have a very spirited child who just tends to maybe run off or say no or have meltdowns, try to work on those things before your trip. You want to keep your child safe, whether that's them running off in the airport, whether that's them running off at a gas station stop. You want your child to be safe. So keep working on establishing those sort of like rules and boundaries and listening skills, whether it's maybe when you stop somewhere, they put their hand on the car, or whether it's we hold hands or put your hand on the suitcase while we're walking, things like that help keep them safe. So make sure you are working on their behavior in the sense of it being appropriate and safe during your travels. Because when you are traveling, you have a lot to keep track of and you have a lot to manage. And obviously your children are the number one priority, but you also are dealing with other things and need them to be safe while you're handling those other things. Now, packing. I'm not going to go super deep into like clothing and this and that, but we of course need to pack for this trip. What I want to talk about is what you're going to need during the journey itself. So whether, again, we're packing for a car or a plane, you're going to want to have some sort of bag that is primarily kid stuff. Obviously, you're going to have extra outfits that are handy. If they're recently potty trained, lots of extra outfits. If they are in diapers, you're of course going to have diapers, extra clothing as well. And then food is of course going to depend on if you're flying or in a car on like liquids and things like that. So obviously follow your rules on that for flying. But my point being, we're going to have those extras. We're going to have the food and the snacks. And then of course, we're going to have entertainment. So you may or may not be a tablet family. We have not introduced tablets to our children yet. So we are on team toys right now and just general entertainment. So for a car ride or a plane ride, you're going to want to have some of their favorite toys, maybe things that they play really, really well with. For some kids, this could be like 2 figurines. Like I know some little boys or even girls love dinosaurs. And you can give them 2 little dinosaurs and they can just like play with these things for the longest time. Whereas other kids, this wouldn't work for them. That's not their jam. So take a couple toys that your child will like, and then take a couple that are new that they've maybe have never seen before. People love the pins where it's just like you fill it with water, like a water pin book. Those are great. And in my experience, they've been very tidy. They have not been messy. They have not like bled through or had any major like leaking issues. So I've been happy with those. And if they do have any leaking, it's just water. So it's not a big deal. So I love like the water pin books. I think those are around $7, $8 typically at the store, maybe a little cheaper depending on where you get. We're going to take stuff to entertain them, but we're not going to use it first. So these are things we're packing. And if you want to include your child in the packing, you can, or if you want to keep everything secret, that's another strategy. I will say, even if you show them what's getting packed, I would recommend having a little bit of a hidden stash that they don't know about, just for backup, whether it's backup food, whether it's backup toys. Always have that like backup stash for when you're really, really desperate. Now, when it comes to packing all these things, one of the most important things to do is to not intentionally use them too quickly. Do not burn through your snacks and your activities the moment you board the plane or the moment you get in the car. You don't give them anything at first. You give them nothing. So on a car trip first, you just put them in the car and you just start driving. Don't give them a thing. You wait until they start getting antsy. Then you slowly give them different items. Same with the plane. You get to the airport, nothing's coming out of that bag. You're waiting to board your flight, no toys, no snacks, unless it's like truly a mealtime and they're hungry. But ideally, while you're at the airport, if you're flying, you are walking around that airport. Maybe if you have 2 adults, one is sitting with the bags, and if you have like multiple children, maybe a baby, the other one is walking. You are doing laps. You are stretching those little legs. You are burning off that energy, and you're just exploring. Check out what's there. Talk about things. Go look out the window at planes as they're coming in and out of the gates. You are saving your resources for when you're desperate. Then, again with flying, say you're boarding the plane. We are looking at people as they're boarding. We're waving hello. We are playing with what's in the seat, maybe the seat belt, maybe the tray, maybe opening and closing the window, or looking out the window and seeing the luggage being loaded onto the plane. So we are not getting out our bags of items. We are waiting as long as we can. Now, along the way during our travels, whether again it's car or plane, we need to do our best to inform our children of what's going on. If they're old enough to understand, let's talk them through it. Again, like you're going through security, this is what we're doing. Or you're maybe getting off the interstate and you're saying, hey, we're about to have a potty break and we're going to stretch our legs. And maybe they're in diapers, but mommy and daddy are going to have a potty break and we're going to put gas in the car. Tell them what's going to happen, what we're going to do. Take these moments, these breaks, or just moments of, maybe a flight's delayed, to stretch their little legs, move around, walk around, get those steps in. And maybe on your road trip, maybe it's beautiful weather, so you can walk around outside at a stop. Or maybe it is raining. Maybe you run them in the gas station and do a couple laps inside the gas station just to get those little legs to stretch. And like I said, when it comes to those items, really try to reserve them. If you're on the plane, let them play with an empty cup. Let them check out what's already in that seat. Same with the car. Let's look at what's out the window. Are there any animals? Are there any cars or semis or motorcycles? Let's use what we have available that isn't taking up our resources first. And my final thought is to be prepared for the unexpected. This is primarily going to be some sort of delays. So maybe a delayed flight. This could be a flat tire of your car, or maybe like construction or an accident that's slowing down traffic. Again, we are going to use our resources slowly in case we end up in one of these pickles where we do need to burn through our bag of activities or our snacks. That's why we're saving them, because you don't know what's coming. You don't know what unexpected thing could occur. Remember that even the smoothest trip can hit bumps along the way. Do your best to stay flexible, stay prepared, and stay patient with your toddler as much as you absolutely can. There you have it. Those are my tips. They're all about planning, patience, and a healthy dose of creativity along the way. Thanks for tuning in and happy travels. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed my content and want to find more content similar to this. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.